The conference room goes quiet as Preston advances to the next slide. My revenue model. My 6 months of work. Except my name isn't anywhere on it. His name sits in the bottom corner where mine should be. My chest tightens, but I keep my face neutral. The CFO leans forward, studying the projected $4.2 million revenue increase. "This is impressive work, Preston," he says. Preston smiles, humble and confident. "Thank you. The team really pulled together on this one." "Team." He says it like I'm invisible. Like I didn't build every formula, contact every client, negotiate every contract. The CFO glances at me briefly, then looks away. He knows. They all know. But nobody says anything. Preston clicks to the next slide. My client breakdown, my growth projections, my strategy timeline. All labeled as his strategic vision. My hands rest calmly on the table, but inside I'm falling. This isn't a mistake. This is theft. When the meeting ends, people congratulate Preston. He shakes hands, accepts praise, talks about leadership and vision. I gather my notebooks slowly, deliberately. Then Preston makes an announcement that stops me cold. Effective immediately, this revenue stream will be permanently reassigned under my direct oversight. I wait until everyone leaves. Then I walk into Preston's office and close the door. My voice is steady. That was my work. Every calculation, every client relationship, every projection. You know that. Preston doesn't even look concerned. He leans back in his chair and smiles like I'm a child who doesn't understand how the world works. Maya, visibility at the executive level is a privilege, not a right. You did good technical work, but leadership requires a broader perspective. I stare at him. He's rehearsed this. Your maturity in handling this will be remembered, he continues. It shows you're ready for future opportunities. Future opportunities. He's threatening my career while stealing my present. I don't argue. I don't raise my voice. I just turn and walk out without another word. Back at my desk, I open my email. There's a new message from HR sent 10 minutes ago. Subject line, role update. My hands hover over the keyboard. Click it open. My title has been changed to Strategic Support Analyst. My responsibilities have been rewritten. My direct client access has been removed. Everything I built is now listed under Preston's supervision. I close the email and sit in silence. That night I can't sleep. I sit at my kitchen table with my laptop open, staring at folders I never thought I'd need. My personal backup drive, email archives, old project files. I start opening them one by one. Version histories don't lie. The original financial model, created by me, 3 months before Preston even knew the project existed. Email chains showing me negotiating terms with clients while Preston was on vacation. Approval workflows with my signature, my recommendations, my analysis. Then I find something that makes my heart stop. A forwarded message Preston sent to himself from my email. He must have used my computer when I was in a meeting. The message contains my draft presentation with a note. Clean this up and present to board next quarter. He planned this months ago. I create a new folder on my desktop and name it simply Proof. I start copying files methodically. Every spreadsheet, every email, every document with my name, my edits, my timestamps. The timeline is too clean to be coincidence. This was calculated. I work until 3 in the morning, organizing everything by date and category. The next morning, I smile at Preston in the hallway. He looks surprised but pleased. But let him think I've accepted it. In the afternoon meeting, I pay attention to who was present during the original strategy discussions. 3 colleagues. Brian from finance, Vanessa from operations, and David from client relations. I watch their reactions carefully when Preston references his revenue model. Brian shifts in his seat. Vanessa glances at me, then away. David stays completely still. They remember. I start treating every interaction like data collection. Who replies to emails immediately? Who hesitates? Who avoids eye contact? After the meeting, I send Brian a casual question about an old budget forecast. His response comes in 4 minutes. Normal. Then I send Vanessa a question about operational timelines from my original project. She takes 2 hours to respond. Interesting. That evening, I forward one innocuous email to my personal account, a client thank you message addressed specifically to me, praising my exceptional strategic insight. I label the file, evidence client recognition 001. Then I open my evidence folder and find something that changes everything. Preston submitted my revenue model to secure additional funding 3 weeks before the reassignment was announced. I wait until the office is empty before accessing the company's internal audit system. Every file download, every edit, every ownership transfer is logged with timestamps and user IDs. The system never forgets. I search for my project files and watch the history unfold. 6 months ago, I create the initial financial model. 4 months ago, I make 17 revisions based on client feedback. 2 months ago, Preston downloads my files for the first time. 3 weeks ago, ownership is transferred from my account to his. But here's what he didn't know. The system logs don't just show transfers. They show access patterns. He never edited the core models. Never contacted the clients directly. Never built anything original. I take screenshots of everything, organizing them by category. Creation dates, edit histories, access logs, email confirmations. I create a reference document that maps every piece of evidence to specific claims Preston has made. No executive could deny this timeline. I test my process by forwarding minor corrections to myself, making sure nothing triggers security alerts. Everything works perfectly. Then I discover something that makes my blood run cold. A spreadsheet with altered dates and fabricated notes, designed to make it look like I merely assisted on Preston's project. Preston arrives at the morning meeting looking energized. He's planned a presentation about leading the team to unprecedented success. I sit in my usual seat, notebook open, pen ready. He talks about vision and strategy and the importance of executive leadership. I nod occasionally, taking notes, but I'm not writing what he says. I'm documenting body language. Who believes him? Who looks uncomfortable? Even the intern's reactions matter now. Brian avoids looking at Preston entirely. Vanessa nods, but her expression is tight. David stares at his laptop screen. Truth is a living thing. Release it too early and it creates chaos. Release it too late and it loses power. Timing is everything. I'm not driven by rage anymore. I'm driven by precision. Preston wraps up his presentation to polite applause. Then he looks directly at me. Maya, I'm assigning you to assist on the Henderson account expansion. It'll be a great learning opportunity for you. Assist. On an account I brought in myself. Several people shift uncomfortably. Smile. Of course. Happy to help. He looks satisfied. He thinks he's distracted me. He thinks I'm focused on the new assignment instead of noticing what he did with the old one. I dive into the Henderson account files, and within an hour I see it clearly. This new project is built entirely on my previous work. Every client contact came from relationships I developed. Every pricing model uses formulas I created. Every growth projection is based on analysis I conducted 6 months ago. Preston has simply repackaged my work and labeled it as a new initiative. I open the project folder and check the file properties. Original creator, Maya Reeves. Last modified by Preston Chen 2 days ago. His modifications are cosmetic. Changed fonts. Reordered slides. Added his name. I document everything. Screenshots of file properties. Comparisons showing identical formulas. Email threads proving I established the client relationships. Then I attend the Henderson kickoff meeting. Preston presents the strategy as if he designed it from scratch. An executive named Mr. Whitman interrupts. This approach is remarkably similar to the revenue model from last quarter. Was that your foundation? Preston doesn't miss a beat. Yes, I've refined that framework for broader application. We're fine. My jaw tightens, but I stay silent. I add Mr. Whitman's comment to my notes. Even executives are noticing the pattern. Over the next week, I start noticing small inconsistencies everywhere. An email I sent to a client in March is now dated April in the shared drive. An attachment I created has been renamed with Preston's initials. A contract I negotiated personally has disappeared from the master folder. He's trying to erase my digital footprint. But he's sloppy. Every change leaves metadata. Every deletion creates a log entry. Every renamed file keeps its original creation timestamp. I start saving each discrepancy in a separate evidence folder. Original versus altered. Before and after. I don't confront him. I don't mention anything. I just collect and document. On Thursday, I'm reviewing a client presentation when I notice something impossible. A document Preston submitted to the executive team has been digitally signed, with my signature, from a contract I signed 4 months ago. He copied my signature onto his document. My hands shake as I take the screenshot. This isn't just credit theft anymore. This is forgery. I save 3 different copies in 3 different locations. Then I breathe slowly and close my laptop. Not yet. The trap isn't ready yet. Friday morning, Vanessa stops by my desk. She leans against the partition, casual, but her voice is careful. Hey, I've been meaning to ask. The revenue strategy Preston presented last month. I thought you were running that deal. It's not an accusation. It's curiosity mixed with suspicion. I don't rush to respond. I look up, keep my expression neutral. Things got reassigned. Leadership decisions. She watches me for a moment. Right. Leadership. There's something in her tone. She doesn't believe the official story. I don't elaborate. Just listen. It's just. I remember you presenting the initial framework back in February. She continues. You had all the client contacts. You built the models. I nod slowly. Memory can be tricky. She understands. I'm not denying it, but I'm not making accusations either. Not yet. She straightens up. Well, if you ever need anything. She trails off meaningfully. That afternoon, Vanessa sends me an email. Subject, old files. The message is brief. Found this in my archive. Thought you might want it. Attached is a complete email thread from March. Preston asking me for project updates. Me sending detailed reports. Him responding with minimal input. Every exchange proves I led the project while he observed from a distance. I spend the weekend creating a visual timeline. Every email, every spreadsheet, every client interaction, arranged chronologically on a digital canvas. Preston's version of events is a straight line. He conceived the strategy, led the team, delivered results. My timeline is different. It shows 6 months of my work. Emails, drafts, client meetings, approvals, with Preston appearing only in the final month, asking questions and requesting updates. The two narratives can't coexist. One is true. One is fabricated. I map every claim Preston has made publicly against the documentary evidence. Each lie is now connected to proof of the truth. I add witness statements. Vanessa's comments, Brian's hesitation, the CFO's knowing glance. I organize everything into categories. Financial models, client relations, strategic planning, timeline discrepancies, forged documents. My laptop screen glows in the dark apartment. This isn't just evidence anymore. It's a weapon built from facts. Monday morning, I receive an unexpected email from the finance department. Subject: internal audit request. They're reviewing all major revenue projects from the past year for compliance verification. The timing is coincidental. Or maybe it's not. Either way, my evidence folder is about to become very relevant. I'm searching through old calendar entries when I find it. A meeting scheduled 2 months ago, 3 weeks before Preston's public announcement. The subject line: Q3 Revenue Reassignment Strategy. Attendees: Preston, Brian, Vanessa, and 2 executives I don't recognize. I was never invited. The meeting was scheduled during my client site visit. Convenient. He planned the theft while I was out of the office. I cross-referenced the date with my evidence timeline. That same week, Preston downloaded my complete project files for the first time. Pieces connect. This wasn't opportunistic. It was premeditated. I quietly mark the attendees in my notes. Brian and Vanessa were there. They watched him plan it. Maybe they objected. Maybe they stayed silent. Either way, they're witnesses. I check my email from that week and find something interesting. Brian sent me a message the day after that secret meeting. "Hey, just wanted to check in. How's the client visit going?" The tone was off. Too casual. Almost guilty. Then on Wednesday, I receive an email that makes everything clearer. It's from Brian, but I'm copied by mistake. The recipient is Preston. Subject: ReQ3 notes. The message: "I deleted the meeting notes like you asked. No record." Preston calls me into his office Thursday afternoon. He's relaxed, confident, sitting behind his desk like he owns the world. "Maya, I wanted to touch base about your development path." I sit down, calm, attentive. He opens his laptop and angles the screen toward me. "I've been documenting the leadership progression on our revenue initiatives." He shows me a folder of emails, sent from his account, outlining strategies and giving directives. Every message is carefully worded to make him look like the visionary. "This is the kind of executive communication that drives results," he says. I nod, scanning the screen. Several emails are addressed to clients I brought in. Others reference my team's analysis, meaning my analysis. He's showing me his fabricated paper trail, thinking it intimidates me. Instead, I'm memorizing every detail. "I want you to understand how these opportunities develop," he continues. "It's not about who does the technical work. It's about who has the strategic vision." I smile slightly. "I appreciate you sharing this. What I don't say. I'm taking mental notes. What I don't mention." His signature appears on a client approval form that I personally submitted, before he was even assigned to the project. Home, I work until midnight. My evidence folders are now organized into 8 categories, each with subcategories and reference codes. Every screenshot is labeled with date, source, and relevance. Every email is cross-referenced with multiple corroborating documents. I create a master index that connects each piece of evidence to specific claims Preston has made. My personal archive becomes a fortress of proof. I don't sleep much these days, but I'm not tired. I'm focused. Clarity is fuel. On my second monitor, I keep a running list of questions Preston won't be able to answer. Who created the original financial model? Which client meeting established the primary contract terms? What methodology underlies the revenue projections? I already know he can't answer these because he wasn't involved in the actual work. Friday morning, I'm reviewing contracts when I notice something disturbing. A master service agreement I negotiated and signed in April has been altered. My signature is still there, but the terms have changed. Dates are shifted. Scope is rewritten. Someone edited the contract after I signed it. I pull up my personal copy. The original I saved before submitting. The differences are substantial. This isn't just credit theft. It's document manipulation. I save both versions side by side with detailed annotations. I start mapping the executive team's dynamics. Who makes decisions based on evidence? Who follows politics? Who values integrity? Mr. Whitman, the CFO, asks detailed questions and fact-checks claims. But Ms. Ramirez, the CEO, trusts data over charm. Better. Mr. Harrison, the CEO, has a reputation for holding people accountable when evidence is clear. Perfect. I don't approach any of them yet. I just observe how they interact with Preston, what questions they ask, what details they notice. In Tuesday's executive briefing, Mr. Whitman asks Preston about the methodology behind a specific revenue calculation. Preston's answer is vague. He talks about comprehensive analysis and team collaboration without explaining the actual approach. Mr. Whitman frowns slightly. He's skeptical. I make a note. Whitman values technical precision. Later, Ms. Ramirez questions the timeline on a deliverable. Preston confidently provides a date. I check my records. He's off by 3 weeks. Ms. Ramirez doesn't challenge him openly, but she glances at her assistant and mouths something. She's fact-checking him independently. These executives aren't blind. They're waiting for proof. I just need to give it to them at the right moment. Preston sends an email to the entire department. Subject: Team Recognition and Strategic Realignment. The message is carefully worded. He frames the revenue reassignment as a collaborative decision made for optimal strategic oversight. He thanks the team for their dedication and mentions that shared success requires shared leadership. There's no mention of me specifically, but the implication is clear. This was mutual, professional, strategic. I read it 3 times, then archive it in my evidence folder. Exhibit narrative. What Preston doesn't realize is that this email is a confession. He acknowledges the reassignment in writing. He claims it was strategic, not circumstantial. Most importantly, buried in the second paragraph, he references the original Q2 calculations that formed our foundation. My calculations. He's admitting my work was the basis for everything that followed. I highlight that sentence and add a note. Preston acknowledges original work completed Q2. Timeline proves Maya was sole analyst on project during this period. Sometimes people destroy themselves with their own words. They just don't realize it until it's too late. I forward the email to my personal account with a subject line. Evidence and acknowledgement, surgeon's work. I'm organizing files when I find something explosive. A presentation deck saved in Preston's shared folder. Marked, Draft, Henderson Executive Pitch. Open it. The entire presentation uses my charts, my client analysis, my strategic recommendations. Every slide is copied from my original work. But here's what makes it evidence. The file properties show creation dates, edit history, and author metadata. Original author, Maya Reeves. Created March 15th. Modified by Preston Chen, June 8th. He took my presentation, changed the title slide to include his name, and planned to deliver it to clients as his own work. I export the file with all metadata intact. Then I create a comparison document showing my original next to his modified version. The content is 97% identical. Only names and formatting changed. I save everything in multiple locations. But the real breakthrough is in the version history. One draft, time-stamped April 3rd, includes my handwritten annotations from a printed copy I scanned and attached. My notes, my strategy adjustments, my corrections, all preserved in a file Preston claimed to have created himself. The metadata doesn't lie. The timeline doesn't lie. I have the original. I have the proof. Preston posts an internal memo to the leadership channel. Subject: Q3 Revenue Achievement Milestone. The message celebrates a 15% revenue increase, crediting strategic oversight and executive leadership for the results. He specifically mentions his role in architecting the framework that enabled this growth. I read it silently at my desk. Then I open my evidence folder and cross-reference the revenue figures against system logs. Every transaction he's celebrating traces back to client relationships I established, contracts I negotiated, and pricing models I designed. The strategic framework he claims to have architected. I built it 6 months before he was assigned to the project. I forward the memo to myself, then pull up the original financial models. I create a split-screen comparison. Preston's claims on the left, system logs proving my authorship on the right. The evidence is undeniable. During Thursday's team call, something unexpected happens. A junior manager named Parker interrupts Preston mid-presentation. Quick question. Wasn't the original pricing model developed by the strategy team last quarter? Preston pauses, just for a second. The framework evolved through collaborative input. Parker nods, but he looks unconvinced. After the call, I don't reach out to Parker. Just wait. If he has questions, he'll follow up on his own. Parker sends me a private message Friday afternoon. Hey, do you have a minute for a quick call? We jump on a video chat. He looks uncomfortable. I don't want to overstep, but I've been working with some of the files from the Q2 revenue project. The version history shows you created most of the core models. Keep my expression neutral. Preston's been leading the strategic direction. Parker hesitates. Right, but I have screenshots from the shared drive. Original creation dates. Your name on the ownership records. Things don't line up with what he's been saying publicly. He shares his screen. He's compiled his own evidence folder. Spreadsheets showing my name as creator. Edit logs showing minimal input from Preston until the final month. Client email threads addressed to me, not him. I just thought you should know someone else noticed, Parker says carefully. Take a slow breath. I appreciate you sharing this. Can you send me those files? He nods. Already done. Check your personal email. After we disconnect, I open my personal inbox. Parker's evidence fills in gaps I didn't even know existed. His screenshots show another layer of misappropriation. Preston claiming credit for client onboarding processes I developed independently. I spend the weekend cross-referencing Parker's evidence with my own. Then I expand my search, looking at older projects Preston led before I joined his team. Find patterns. 2 years ago. A market expansion initiative credited to Preston. The original strategy document was created by someone named Alex Torres, who left the company 6 months later. 18 months ago. A client retention program attributed to Preston's leadership. The implementation files show a project manager named Priya Sharma did most of the execution. She transferred departments shortly after. 1 year ago. A cost optimization framework celebrated as Preston's innovation. The financial models were built by an analyst named Chris Wong, who resigned 4 months later. This isn't isolated. It's systematic. Preston has been stealing credit for years, and the original creators either left or were quietly reassigned. I don't feel angry anymore. Feel clarity. This is who he is. This is what he does. I create a separate folder. Pattern under evidence. I document each case with whatever proof still exists in the archives. File histories, email threads, project timelines. Then I notice something that ties everything together. Every stolen project was followed by a strategic reassignment that removed the original creator from visibility. Preston has a playbook. I prepare the final report over 3 days. The document is 22 pages, organized into clear sections. Timeline, evidence, witnesses, pattern analysis, and conclusions. Every claim is supported by multiple sources. Every piece of evidence includes metadata, timestamps, and cross-references. I anticipate every excuse Preston might offer. It was collaborative, disproven by edit logs showing minimal input. I provided strategic direction, contradicted by email chains where I presented strategies to him. Authorship doesn't matter, results do. Undermined by his public claims of personal credit. I identify 5 executives who need to see this report. Mr. Whitman, Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Harrison, and 2 board members who oversee operational integrity. I prepare individual summary memos for each, highlighting the evidence most relevant to their roles. My network of silent observers is ready. Vanessa has agreed to provide a witness statement if needed. Parker has his own documentation. Brian hasn't committed yet, but his deleted email to Preston is evidence enough. Then I learn Preston has scheduled a meeting with Mr. Harrison, the CEO, for next Wednesday. The agenda. Proposal for expanded strategic oversight. He's planning to take credit for even more. The timing is perfect. Wednesday morning arrives. Preston's meeting with the CEO is scheduled for 2 p.m. At 1:45, I send a carefully worded email to Mr. Whitman, Ms. Ramirez, and 2 board members. Subject. Documentation requiring review. Revenue project attribution. The message is brief and professional. I've compiled documentation related to the Q2, Q3 revenue initiatives that may require clarification before strategic decisions are finalized. Please see attached reference materials. I attach the full evidence report. I don't attend Preston's meeting. I'm not invited. But I've ensured the right people have the right information before Preston walks into that room. 2:15 I'm at my desk when my phone buzzes. It's a calendar invitation from Mr. Harrison's assistant. Subject: Urgent follow-up discussion. Q2/Q3 revenue attribution. Attendees: Mr. Harrison, Mr. Whitman, Ms. Ramirez, Preston and me. Scheduled for 3:30 today. I accept the meeting without comment. At 3:30, I walk into the executive conference room. Preston is already there, sitting confidently. He looks surprised to see me but covers it quickly. Mr. Harrison sits at the head of the table. Mr. Whitman and Ms. Ramirez are reviewing documents on their tablets. My report. Mr. Harrison looks at Preston. Before we discuss expansion, I need clarification on the existing project structure. Preston straightens. Of course. I'm happy to provide any context you need. Mr. Whitman doesn't look up from his tablet. The financial models underlying the revenue strategy. When were they created and who built them? Preston's confidence doesn't waver. The models were developed collaboratively throughout Q2, with strategic direction from my office and technical execution by the team. Ms. Ramirez interrupts. The file metadata shows a single author, Maya Reeves, with creation dates in February. Your first edit is logged in May. Can you explain the 3-month gap? Preston's smile tightens slightly. I provided oversight and direction. The technical implementation naturally came later. Mr. Harrison leans forward. I have email chains here showing Maya presenting strategic frameworks to you, with you asking clarifying questions. That doesn't suggest you provided the direction. Preston shifts. Leadership isn't always documented in emails. Strategic guidance happens in conversations meetings. We have meeting notes, Mr. Whitman interrupts. From the project planning sessions. Maya led every presentation. You attended 2 of 7 meetings. The room goes quiet. Preston's jaw tightens. I think there's been some confusion about roles and responsibilities here. Ms. Ramirez looks directly at him. There's a document in this file with your signature, dated before you were assigned to the project. How did you sign something you weren't involved with? Preston's demeanor finally falters. Mr. Harrison sets down his tablet. Preston, I'm going to ask you directly. Did you create the strategic framework for the Q2 revenue initiative? Preston hesitates. As I said, it was collaborative. That's not what you said in your memo to the board, Mr. Harrison interrupts. You claimed you architected the framework. Those were your exact words. The silence is crushing. Preston looks around the room. Nobody is helping him. Mr. Whitman speaks, his voice cold. We've also found discrepancies in other projects attributed to your leadership. File histories don't match your public claims. This appears to be a pattern. Preston tries once more. I think there's been a misunderstanding about how credit and collaboration work at the executive level. Stop, Ms. Ramirez says firmly. We've reviewed the documentation. The evidence is clear. This isn't a misunderstanding. Mr. Harrison stands. Preston, we're going to need to place you on administrative leave while we conduct a full investigation. Please coordinate with HR. Preston's face goes pale. He looks at me for the first time since the meeting started. I meet his eyes, calm and steady. I don't say a word. Mr. Harrison turns to me. Maya, we apologize for the misattribution. Your work will be properly recognized. Around the table, the executives are already discussing next steps. Within minutes, people start acknowledging my contributions aloud. The truth is finally spoken. The next morning, Preston's office is empty. HR has launched a formal investigation into multiple projects spanning 3 years. I'm called into Mr. Harrison's office. Ms. Ramirez is there too. "We want to apologize," Mr. Harrison says. "The misattribution should never have happened. We're implementing new oversight protocols to ensure this doesn't occur again." Ms. Ramirez adds, "Your revenue stream is being restored under your direct management, effective immediately. We're also reviewing your role and compensation to reflect your actual contributions." I nod. "Thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement." Over the next week, the investigation expands. Alex Torres, Priya Sharma, and Chris Wong are all contacted. They provide statements confirming similar patterns of credit theft. The company offers settlements to previous employees whose work was misattributed. Preston attempts one final move. He emails Mr. Harrison denying everything, claiming the evidence is misinterpreted and that he's being unfairly targeted. The email is forwarded to the investigation team. It contradicts his earlier statements and includes provably false claims about project timelines. 2 weeks later, the company announces Preston's departure. The official statement mentions misalignment with company values regarding attribution and integrity. My name is formally restored to all my projects. Colleagues who stayed silent now approach me with apologies and support. 6 weeks after the conference room confrontation, I'm sitting in Mr. Harrison's office again. This time it's about recognition. The company has decided to feature the revenue strategy one developed as a case study in their annual report. My name will be prominently credited. My role has been officially upgraded to Senior Strategy Director with direct executive access. The revenue I created remains under my leadership, and I'm given authority to build my own team. Preston is gone. No forwarding email. No farewell announcement. Just gone. I don't celebrate his downfall. I don't feel triumphant. Feel calm. Vindicated. In control. The people who stayed silent have learned a lesson about courage. The executives have learned a lesson about oversight. And Preston, wherever he is, has learned that silence and preparation speak louder than arrogance and lies. I never raised my voice. I never made threats. I never broke any rules. I just collected the truth and let it speak for itself. Every timestamp, every email, every piece of evidence. They told the story better than I ever could have. Sometimes revenge isn't dramatic. It's not confrontation or exposure or public humiliation. Sometimes it's just the patient accumulation of facts, delivered at exactly the right moment to exactly the right people. That's the revenge that lasts. That's the revenge that rebuilds. I close my laptop and look out the window. The sun is setting. Tomorrow I start building something new. Something that's actually mine.